Peace, family. It's your brother man from the motherland coming to you guys live from the NY, back with another one of that weekly broadcast. For those that don't know who I am him, Junes, the NBIC, representing that ROD. But before I even proceed to give you guys what you need, I have to give you guys this introduction. So let's play this introduction before we start this function. Here we go.
Welcome to the ROD podcast, where we keep our foot on the neck of the oppressors. Hosted by June the NBIC. This is the place where truth meets knowledge. No sugarcoating, no holding back, just real talk about culture, spirituality, and waking up from the lies we've been told. Are you ready to open your mind and challenge the narrative?
And if you ready to challenge this narrative, then I am the guy, and this is the place to be. But again, it's your brother man. Before I even start, definitely want to send out my condolences to my aunt, my cousins. We had to bury our grandmother yesterday. It was a lot, but grandma was old. She lived to see her 90s, and she watched all her children, got a chance to see her great-grandchildren. So, she was able to witness a lot. So that's always a good thing. But, one thing for certain, two things for sure, we know that death is always promised. But nobody, and I repeat, nobody is ever prepared for it. So my condolences to the family. Also, let me give a birthday shout out to my nephew. He turned 1 last year at this time. He was born. It was a crazy situation. My sister went through it. I'm happy to see her well, on point, doing what she got to do. Shout out to her. Shout out to my little sis, and also shout out to Mama Love for, doing a phenomenal job raising these girls on her own. You heard? We definitely gonna have a good one. Today's broadcast is gonna be literally based on this up and coming election. A lot of you guys are gonna go out your way to vote. Whoever you vote for, it is what it is. One thing that you can't change somebody from doing, even, right? We are under European spell that has overtaken black people, and the only thing that you can do as a fellow colored person, a melanated person, is to move around it. I didn't do the verdict yesterday because of the funeral and the burial and then the birthday party, but I will be doing it today at 4 p.m. When you guys receive this broadcast, just know that it will be up. I will be putting the link up somewhere up top so you guys can go watch it at your own time. But we're gonna definitely talk about it. But let's talk about today's election. Now, the reason why I want to talk about the election is because I had a conversation with my aunt. Shout out to my aunt. It's always a great feeling to speak to my aunt, especially when I ask questions when it's pertaining to my father and my father's side of the family. Is like I said, they always provide me with just a little bit of information where I have to do my due diligence and find these things out. But overall, me and her had a conversation, and she, in the midst of our conversation, she said to me, "You better make sure you go vote." And I said, "Vote?" And I jokingly said that if I do vote, I'm voting for Trump. And she just broke out like, "What? You voting for this evil man, etc., 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 etc." And she went on her little rant like every other black person who went on their rant. Even with the Wiz, I made some shirts saying no Harris, no Trump, and she had on the no Harris. And as a colored woman having that on, walking in a Democratic community, and the way that they was looking at her is literally like how a Jew would look at somebody that support Hitler. It was crazy. But my aunt said to me, she said, "What's wrong with you? Do you like this, etc.? You crazy?" The whole shebang. It was a good 10 to 15 minute rant. And me, I'm always petty and very jokeable You know what I'm saying? I was just joking around because I don't vote, people. I'm telling you that right now. I don't vote. And when you as you guys listening to this broadcast, you will see why I don't vote. But just to see how she was, how her reactions into the things that I was saying, I thought it was very comical. It was hilarious. We both had laughs out of it. But again, for me, I don't take political stuff personal. I don't take criticism personal. I don't take people's opinions and what they believe personal. Like, I really don't, because it doesn't affect me and my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? I'm from that era. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt. I come from that. I don't get emotional by things people say. You can say whatever you want to say. You got a mouth, you got lips, you got a tongue, you got teeth, you speak your piece. You feel me? But in the conversation, she said it to me that her reliable sources come from the news. She said the news bring forth the truth, except for Channel 5. And when she said that, it just let me come to the realization that she's really just following the media script that's being presented, that's being broadcasted to the individuals. For example, broadcasting. They cast the spell. Casting, broadcast. News stands for north, east, west, south. That's what news is. Broadcasting news. So they spreading spells on the north, east, west, and south. That's what news is. But anyway, when she said that to me is what let me come to the realization that, my aunt really doesn't know. And for somebody that's of her age, who's in, their late 50s, early 60s, sometimes you don't go deep into the rabbit hole to digest or figure out what's going on, right? You just take everything on surface level, which I expect certain people, because not everybody has the tolerance, the due diligence, and the mental strength to deal with such information. That's why a lot of you guys don't dive deep into the religion. That's why a lot of you guys go into the studies of whatever it may be with an agenda. Right? And if your agenda is to debunk or prove your point to be right, you will find that. But if you're looking to find the facts, because like I said, there's no truth. If you're really looking on the facts, or your stance is based on solely by the facts, you're gonna get a different perspective and have a different view of the information that is given unto you, or which is presented to the world to perceive. You understand? And when she said what she said, as far as her information comes from the news, and the news is that's her reliable source. And she also said that she did her own studies, but based on her response, I know that she don't. But it's okay, right? This is a message for my Black and brown people. Matter of fact, let me take that away. This is a message to the entire United States of America. Every U.S. citizen needs to hear this. Your ballot does not determine who wins the election. I repeat, your ballot does not determine who wins the election. It is their billions who wins the election. It's the billionaires, it's the wealthy family, it's the franchises. These corporations are the ones that install who going to be president. You have no say. I know it makes you feel good because according to the Constitution, it's supposed to protect you from government corruptness, etc., but those things has not been followed since the 60s. The last president that stood by the Constitution was executed in Dallas, in Texas, okay? For the whole world to see, all right? So the Constitution does not protect you, or is a protection for the civilians, the civil people, okay? And politics. Your word, your singings, your voting, all of that doesn't matter. In fact, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Biden was the nominee to run again. Society and the Democratic Party realized that he was unfit. According to the Constitution and just voting laws and regulations, a nominee, a bunch of individuals, selected individuals, are supposed to have, I guess, a quick vote where the people decide who should replace Biden to run for the presidency as the Democratic person. But as you can see, he was thrown out the way and out came Kamala. That alone lets you know that you have no say. The fact that today's elections is solely based on two parties lets you know that you don't have no selection. I want you guys to pay attention to that. Once upon a time, you had the Independent Party, you had the Democratic, you had the Republican, and many other parties where people had the chance to choose from. But now the choices has been narrowed down to two, because they believe that American civilians, citizens, only are smart enough to pick A and B, because the way society has been constructed in the last 35 years is literally A and B. And if anything is in the middle, it's still gotta fall in the guidelines of A and B. Being in the middle is taking a little bit of A, taking a little bit of B, and you put it in the middle, and this is what you see. That's just what it is. So people need to understand that your ballot is not chosen by you. And my son, yesterday, I was with my son all day. Shout out to my son, man. It's always a beautiful feel when you get to see your son grow up to be who he is, right? And this daddy and son moment, it was a beautiful thing. So shout out to him for that. He told me that, I asked him what you think about this voting stuff. You know, my son is like, oh, like your dad, son, I ain't with all that. He's like me. We don't participate in foolishness. But I just wanted to ask him, because he is now in the world now. You know what I'm saying? There's a 19-year-old who's working, going to school. You are going to be exposed to these conversations. You're going to be exposed to individuals who will try to pick your mind or also try to navigate you to choose a side. And my son, he's like me, like, yeah, okay, whatever, move it out the way. But he said something to me that I found it completely outrageous. He said, yo, Dad, do you know that you don't even need an ID to vote? I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, you don't need an ID to vote. He said, certain states now don't even require you to even walk inside with an ID. Just vote for who you need to vote for and walk away. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. He said, yo, Dad, I'm gonna send you something. The way he sent me is what I want to show you guys. Let me share this with you guys right now. This is what my son sent me. So you no longer, as you can see right here, you no longer need IDs to vote in certain locations. So in the blue states like Texas, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, these areas require you to have an ID. But in places like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Nevada, California, it says no ID required, which means that you can just walk in. You don't even have to be an American citizen. You can just walk in and vote. Now, why am I saying this? Because, earlier I said that your ballot does not matter. It's the billionaires, the corporations that determine who's the next president. The reason why they do that is so they can hide their hands when it comes to such elections, because all these areas that don't need IDs, people are gonna go in there and vote 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Come up with different names, John Doe A, John Doe B, John Doe C. And then you just imagine all the migrants that are here that will do such things. This is why the migrants are coming from areas like Texas and Florida, and they're being shipped to places like New York, places like New Jersey, places like California. It all makes sense. So they can just walk in because they're getting food stamps, because they're getting public assistance, they're getting EBTs, they're getting everything that they need. In return of these free accessities, you now have to come and vote for your next presidency. And they will surely do it, because when they came there, they're being ensured that this is Biden who allowed you to come in. This is the Biden administration who allowed you to come in. And guess what? Kamala is also a part of this Biden administration. So to pay us back, we just want you to vote. It could be synonymous. You don't have to tell them your name. You don't have to show no paperwork. You don't have to show no ID. Just sign it. You sign, your daughter sign, your auntie sign, your uncle sign. And this is how these things are being done. Now, I'm not gonna say rigged. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just telling you that these are the way politics are being conducted in today's times. Now, what you guys don't understand is that your ballot still does not matter. And a system like this, that's corrupted like this, that can go this far, just let you know that your vote does not matter. Your protesting, your marching, your rallies, shout out to the elder Bob, he was 83 years old, doing push-ups, doing sit-ups, doing dips. He's doing all of that. And he told me to go, he said, you got a platform, advertise and influence people to go out and vote. Vote. Because it's important. The country depends on it. And out of respect, I said, no problem, OG, I'll do that for you. But in my mind, it's like, for what? Because when I see stuff like this, it just lets me know no matter what I do, no matter what I say, it's already determined who's gonna be president. Is how can we present it without it looking so obvious? How can we do it without it being so obvious? Right? You always gotta hide the hand. Okay? How do we ensure that people do not see the corruption? You witnessed the corruption last year. I witnessed the corruption as a young man growing up with Al Gore and George Bush. I witnessed these things. And when you see these things, you have to make a conscious decision and say, well, if this is easily going on in the world on a national stage, why do I need to then go out my way to support something that the person that's gonna be president was already chosen? These people has been chosen long time ago. Obama, you're gonna be this president. Bush, you're gonna be that president. These people already know. And I know it may fall under the eyes or the lane of conspiracy theories, but the facts show it. The facts show it. And if the facts show it, then I can't argue the facts, because at that point, anything outside of the facts is either going to be an assumption, a belief, or an insertion. These are the most detrimental things that can ever be done to Black people, is these things I'm just mentioning, when we fight the facts over belief, assumptions, and insertions. Okay? So when it comes to the presidential election that's coming up, I just want you guys to know that you really don't have no say. Ballots don't choose presidents. It's the billions. You have to be worth something to even be considered in the conversation. We're not worth nothing. I don't care if you're Black, white, Chinese. If you're not in that club, if you're not a part of that association, what you say and what you want does not matter. But one thing I gotta pick with the Democratic Party, and I'm starting to really find it very disrespectful, is when these people are using rap entertainers as a voice to represent us or to lure us into voting for them, when these are the people that's destroying households. These are the people that's making music, disrespecting men, disrespecting women, telling children to do this, telling children to do that. Spin the block. Stop. Love everybody, hate everybody, but trust a cop. These are the people that's supposedly the ones that they are being chosen to represent us. And I find it very, very disrespectful. And I find it very disrespectful that they're using that to attract black people, young black boys, young black girls that's, just turning 18, where they don't know no better, and they use such people to lure them in. I think that's a very cowardly move. I think it's a disrespect to who we are as black people. I don't find that funny. I think that's very, very disrespectful, because you would never see Elton John, you would never see the Beatles, Paul McCartney, and none of these people will ever come on such stage to lure Europeans into voting for them. Democrats are not using these people to get European votes to vote for them. They're using black people, and not just any black people, genocidal representatives, because hip hop is a weapon. It's a genocidal weaponized weapon, that's used to destroy the black humanity. Just call it what it is. It's designed to destroy black people. That's just what it is. And they're using the same people, the same puppets that use their voice to destroy. They're now still using that voice to deploy us into following such narrative. And I find that very disrespectful. I find it very disrespectful. And it needs to stop. And if anybody is persuaded because people like Meg Thee Stallion, who was twerking, by the way, on stage, on a political national broad stage, is twerking, to Cardi B, who could hardly speak any English. No disrespect to you, my mom, but I gotta call it what it is. Why they're not bringing civil rights leaders, activists, people with doctrines and degrees, and people that's literally from the community? Why they don't get community officials, people that's knowing what's going on in their neighborhood, knowing what's going on in that state wherever they rallying at? They're not using these people. And I find that very disrespectful. And we as people should find that very disrespectful. It's like, damn, what you think we're not smart enough? What you think we're not good enough to get somebody that's well-spoken, that's whole, the so-called American values, that comes from a married household, that white picket fence, that's not in those scandals. Cardi B's in 15 scandals every day. She can't even keep her baby father in check. And this is who you want to use to represent us? I find it very disrespectful. You bring in Meg Thee Stallion, who's known for being digged up and dug down, passed around like a goddamn sheetrock. And then these are the people that you're using to represent us. Not to mention, shorty was literally twerking on stage. And these are the people you're using to represent us. I find it very disrespectful. I find it very disrespectful. And Malcolm X warned us about this. He warned us to fast forward to 2024. Here we are. That was a prophecy that took place. Now here we are, getting excited. You should see the people, the comments, etc., etc. People is getting excited. We have to realize that this is all a facade. Get away from politics, people. Black people, you are all people should get away from politics. Get far, far away from it. And if you're gonna stand on it based on your upbringing, remember which party was literally against the freeing of black people. Remember which party promoted incarceration, promoted the death penalty upon black people. Remember which party had the most KKK members. Remember the party. If you don't know the party, go do your homework. Just know what you're investing yourself into. Just know. Don't just go based on surface information. You need to dig deep. You need to know the history of it all, because what you choose, what you say, what you put yourself around, what you give your energy to is either gonna lift you up or destroy you. And as you guys are witnessing, you're being destroyed. You can't afford living in these conditions. Things has gone too up. Interest rates all over the place. Mortgages gone up, taxes gone up, gas gone up, food gone up. But the one thing that remained the same is your hourly pay, is your yearly pay. That didn't go up. That remained the same. And some people are being let go because these companies can't afford to keep employees while the cost of living in business, manufacturing, and etc. is gone up. And just a FYI, all of that has happened under the Democratic Party. That is a fact. So with that being said, people, understand your ballots don't mean nothing. It's the billions that matters. And I'm gonna post up a video with Brother Shahid Bolstein, where he tells you exactly who's going to win this year's election. Remember, people, like, comment, share, subscribe. If it's your first time, I hope it's not your last time. If it's your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, that means I'm still on your mind. That means we gotta stay on that grind, because it's about that time. Time for our people to go get theirs, because I'm out to go get mine. You understand? It's your brother, man, and I'ma holla at y'all. One.